no finish line.
Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review. I just saw The Long Walk, which is based on the book by Stephen King and directed by Francis Lawrence, the guy who did the Hunger Games movies, which for this subject matter I feel was appropriate. And real quick, I want to say I've never heard of The Long Walk before. I didn't know it was a book by Stephen King or, there was a movie being made. I had no idea what it was until I saw the trailer a couple months ago. I don't know if it's like a short story or a whole novel. I would assume it's probably a whole novel, considering, they go on a very long walk. So I am a Stephen King fan. I haven't read his books particularly, but I do love the adaptations. The Shining, It, I've never seen Cujo. I want to check that one out. Carrie was Stephen King, right? And this movie was very good too, by the way. Misery, I'm sure there's other ones I'm just forgetting, but I love his story. Shawshank Redemption, So this director, Francis Lawrence, like I said, did the Hunger Games movies. He did every single one except for the first one, I believe. And I was a big fan of those movies back in high school, mainly because I had a huge crush on Jennifer Lawrence. No relation, by the way. Jennifer Lawrence, Francis Lawrence. It's just kind of a weird coincidence. But yeah, this is appropriate because this is a similar concept where you have a bunch of young adults competing, and it's life or death. Now, when I first saw the trailer for this, I wasn't too impressed. I was just like, oh, it's another Hunger Games. Like, it's the young adult thing, and it's life or death, and, it doesn't sound as fun as a concept, obviously. It's just literally them walking until there's one person left. Whereas Hunger Games, you have booby traps and, survival skills and all kinds of stuff like that. And they're in the jungle. So this is much more bare bones. Now, the early reviews for this movie were, amazing, which got me excited. And also the fact that this was rated R, because the Hunger Games, of course, were all PG-13, which kind of hindered a little bit, the brutality of what's going on. But yeah, this definitely benefited from an R rating because, man, it's definitely very R rated. So the concept of the movie, like I said, you have, I believe it's 50 kids, one representing each state. Basically, in this world, the whole government and everything is just fallen. It's sort of post-apocalyptic in a way. They don't really go into it too much, but I don't know if there was, a war that happened, on civilian land or whatever, but basically the government rules with an iron fist and everything is just miserable. It's just bad. There's an opening text that explains everything, but that was 2 hours ago. Basically there is a competition that goes on. It's sort of similar with the Hunger Games. There's a huge cash prize at the end, and it sort of helps the gross domestic product or something, I guess for that particular state that wins, whatever. It's run by the military, and you have the major played by Mark Hamill, which I have two gripes in this movie, and one of them is the ending, which obviously I'm not going to spoil because, this kind of movie you definitely don't want spoiled. But Mark Hamill's performance is kind of my second complaint. I think it's intentionally supposed to be cheesy, but, it's a little too cheesy for me. I don't know. There's something weird going on with his character. His character's very, ominous and, I don't know. He's very one note, and it doesn't really change throughout the whole movie. It's very strange. I don't know if that was, an artistic choice or whatever. And I don't know how much of this is, 100% related to the book. If they changed a lot of stuff or whatever. Because, Stephen King, being an author, I'm sure he's got all kinds of metaphors and allegories and all kinds of things, and some artsy-fartiness, which I'll touch on the ending a little bit. The ending I didn't love. I'm not sure how a lot of people are going to feel about it. I got to see reviews and spoiler talks and stuff, and see what people think. But the ending is sort of... I kind of saw it as something you'd have to, interpret. You know what I mean? To me, it didn't feel like a straightforward ending. It felt like there's something more to this, but I just can't quite put my finger on it, if that makes any sense. Once you see the movie, you might know what I mean. It's something I feel is up for interpretation. Most people are going to look at it as straightforward and say, "Oh, that sucked," but nah, I don't know. There's probably something more to it. Like I said, I just need to see somebody else's take on it or watch like an explained video or something. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're going to hate the ending. It's just going to be divisive, I think. Yeah. So anyway, you have all these kids, young adults, I should say, and they need to walk. And there's rules, of course, you know. You can't stop, you know, for more than like 30 seconds, I think it is. You get 3 warnings, 10 seconds each. And once you hit the 3rd warning, you get killed. You get executed. Because the military is following them the whole way, like on their trucks or whatever. But they do provide food and water. You know, logistically, it makes sense. Now, again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the distance they go, and by the way, they're not allowed to sleep either, which is the craziest part to me. They cannot sleep, and if they need to use the restroom, they have to do it as they walk. Like they have to piss as they walk or stop briefly and take a shit. You know, it's very brutal, and very strict on the rules. But food and water is provided, like I said, but they cannot sleep. If they sleep, obviously they're gonna completely stop, and then. So yeah, logistically speaking, the length that they end up going by the end, it's like, okay, will this really happen? I should look this up, but like I really wonder, like, what's the longest somebody's gone walking without, you know, stopping completely? You know what I mean? And they have to walk at a pace of 3 miles per hour. They wear little tracker watches that, you know, determine if they fall too short or, you know, whatever. So yeah, I don't know if this is actually like something that could happen, but I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see like how far has somebody ever walked without stopping. You know, like, you know, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Is it realistic? You know. Now my thing with this movie, it is very emotional. Okay, like I'm telling you guys, I got teary-eyed at least 3 or 4 times. I kind of lost count actually. I didn't fully cry, though, but it'll definitely pull on your heartstrings. And if it does make you cry, don't be surprised, because, man, this movie was a gut punch, I'm telling you. Not a perfect movie, you know, I did have my little nitpicks, but, yeah, be prepared. This is not, like, a happy-go-lucky movie, you know. There are funny moments, you know, there are great character bonding moments in it. But as it goes along, which would make sense in this scenario, it just gets more and more dreadful. Yeah, so be prepared for that. So the main 2 kids in this movie, or young adults, I should say, they're probably in their, you know, late 20s by now. But Cooper Hoffman, who's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, who was in Licorice Pizza, he plays the main kid, Ray. And then you have the other guy, Pete, played by the guy that played Andy in Alien Romulus last year, who was the best character in that movie. What's his name? David Johnson, I think. I just looked at the cast list, but I'm not familiar with him aside from, you know, Alien Romulus. But outstanding. Both of these guys gave outstanding performances. Again, I want to highlight, I think his name's David Johnson, who played in Alien Romulus. He was, in my opinion, the best performance in the whole movie. You do have other actors in there, you know, other kid. I keep calling them kids, but, you know, they're all like in their 20s or whatever. All the characters were good. I would have liked to seen a little more development from some of them. But again, you're kind of like stuck with this sort of scenario because literally the whole movie is just a walk. So like you can only do so many things with that. Like comparing it to like something like Squid Game, sorry, it's not plural. Squid Game, you have the whole like dynamic of like, oh, my opponents could kill me, we have to sleep together, and you know, we all sleep in these giant rooms, we can get ambushed, or you have all those dynamics, and then the different games and whatnot. But in this case, they cannot sleep, so they're literally just continually walking and stuff like that. So less stakes in terms of like the players, you know, trying to compete against each other in a physical sense, I guess. It's more of like a mental thing. Which the movie does touch upon, like, you know, it's all mental, like, it really is. Physical, of course, too, you know, again, you do have people that get sprained ankles and convulse, and, you know, it gets brutal, like I said, nosebleeds, you know, people just passing out, it's bad. So, yeah, not quite a pleasant movie, per se, but definitely one worth watching. Again, very emotional. And again, the ending for me, I didn't really love it. Oh, The Mist. That's another Stephen King movie. Controversial ending. I believe the book ending was different though, but the movie ending very controversial. Kind of similar feeling for me here with that ending. I never hated that ending though. Like I don't hate this ending either, but like it leaves me with a strange feeling of like, man, I wish it was something different. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I'm gonna give this movie an A minus. It was very good. Not an A plus, unfortunately, but 9 out of 10, A minus. Very good movie. Definitely one I'll be thinking about for a while, which is always a good thing when a movie sticks with you like that. Yeah. And anybody do the? They had like a screening. I might have been California or something. I don't know where it was, but they had people walking on treadmills for this movie. If you walk at a 3 mile per hour pace on the treadmill for the whole movie, you're good. But if you stop at any point, you get kicked out the theater. I would have loved to have tried that. That would have been interesting to see the movie like that. And that also brings up too, like there are a lot of like long shots in this movie just due to the nature of it being a walk. There's a lot of long takes, which is very impressive too. Um, yeah, you can definitely feel like you know the weight on these kids' shoulders. Yeah, it gets brutal, at certain points. So, but yeah, that's really about it. I don't think I'm missing anything. It's a basic movie, like basic premise, but they do such a good job in executing it. No pun intended, because people get executed in this movie. Um, yeah, so 9 out of 10. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I missed? Let me know in the comments what you thought. Do you completely disagree with what I'm saying? Do you think this movie's trash? Whatever. Just, yeah, let me know. And if you want to talk about the ending, just make sure you put spoilers. Put a warning so nobody reads it. Um, but yeah, that's about it. So next week is going to be Him, the Jordan Peele produced movie. I'm definitely going to check that one out. I'm excited. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one. Bye-bye.